We probably have some people new to baseball. It's not literally farm. You're in charge of the Red Sox minor league system. Thanks for coming here. And we have an addition here. Justin Masterson is here tonight.
Justin Masterson's twin, our new assistant farm director, Ben Crockett's here as well. So for those of you that think you're looking at Justin Masterson, you're not. I'm sorry to disappoint.
Ben, he made me do that, the Justin Masterson thing. So just talk a little bit quickly about your position. I mean, farm director involves a lot. I mean, you're up here, the Red Sox development programs going on in Boston right now. So there's a lot of facets to your job, and you're part of the minor league system, part of the Sea Dogs, from Lowell all the way up top. I mean, you have a pretty booked day, don't you?
Yeah, we oversee the minor league teams. Obviously, there's 6 of them, 6 affiliates where all the players play, and you guys see the second highest one, obviously. And that's what we're charged with, is sort of overseeing the staff and the players and the movement and sort of the actual coaching philosophy on a day-to-day basis.
We've talked a lot about this. Red Sox fans that are from all generations, but especially, ones who followed the Red Sox since the 70s and 80s. Player development wasn't number one. I mean, it was the high payroll. You could go out and you spend money. The one thing that Theo did when he came in was implement a similar system like the Minnesota Twins, like Cleveland, where you were at one point.
Yeah, no, it's definitely becoming a part of the game for any club, regardless of payroll size, to develop that competitive advantage, because it's cost certainty for us to develop young players, guys like Brian Lawson and Jed Lowry and Josh Reddick, to come up and play, I hate to say this, at the minimum salary for a few years, as opposed to going out and spending hundreds of millions of dollars, which is what we've done as well. And we kind of have the benefit of doing both. We have the benefit of having tremendous revenues to be able to go out and do that, but also we've seen the benefits of seeing guys like Jed and Josh come up and impact our club. And it certainly is exciting, I know, for everybody here and for us, but it also makes economic sense. So it behooves us to be very efficient and effective at developing our own players from a cost standpoint.
One of the common things I hear sometimes is, why don't they just go out and spend whatever? It's not our money, it's their money. But just because you guys are able to go out and get some high-priced free agents doesn't mean you're going to go out and break the bank all the time. Economically, it might not make sense, but again, down in the long run, it might not make sense on the field.
Yeah, no, we certainly would rather have 25 homegrown players every year. It's just not going to be the reality, we don't think, competing in the division that we do in the American League. We'd like to have 25 of our homegrown players eventually, if that could at all happen, if we do our job the right way, if we sign and develop the guys that we want to. We're going to be able to pick our spots, though, and that's how we stay competitive every year. And I think that's probably going to be the model we use for the foreseeable future.
The Red Sox system has just continued to grow more and more. I mean, people who are fans of the Sea Dogs, since 2005, look at some of the names that come through here. And some of the names that came through here right away were successful right away, which can sometimes be a bad thing. Papelbon, Lester, Pedroia, those guys right off the bat came through here, succeeded. I mean, Hanley Ramirez was through the system right now, but really the last 4 or 5 years, this has been a treat.
Yeah, it's a great place to work. It's a great place. Our scouting director, who we unfortunately just lost to the San Diego Padres, had done a great job over the last 4 years of drafting high-impact talent that you guys have seen come through the system. Not only the Lesters and the Papelbons and those guys, but the Lowrys and the Reddicks and the Ellsburys and those guys that have come through, Mastersons and the Bowdens. It's really been a nice little pipeline. Hopefully we can, that next wave of guys that were in Greenville and Salem will be coming through next year.
Casey Kelly's the name that pops up right off the bat. Iglesias, shortstop, who you guys signed. We'll look at the 2010 Sea Dogs. Do we see possibly those 2 guys in uniform here in Portland?
Yeah, I think, talked a little bit about this morning, sort of the holdover group of last year's team, the guys that came up in the middle of the year, the Navarros and the Expositos, Ryan Miller, those guys will probably come back to start, maybe Kalish. And then, guys like Iglesias, guys like Casey Kelly will have a chance to come up and compete as well. So we think it's going to be another young team, but a really exciting one.
Would you think that the exposure that minor league guys are getting now, this is better for them because you're going to play at Fenway Park? And in years past, maybe you played in some cities that were in real small markets. You didn't have, we get the media exposure here. They get it in Lowell, they get it anywhere. They're getting a taste of all that. So when they move up, they get to Boston. Obviously, it's a shock, but they're used to getting a lot of attention. I mean, these guys that are here now, the players, they know Boston people are coming up here when they're in Portland to do interviews.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's nothing that can recreate it. You know, the Boston experience, the volume, playing in the big leagues probably for the first time, especially in that market. But the Nesson games, you know, the exposure there, the amount of radio, the blogs, the websites, the radios up here, we do think it's a skill that they have to learn to go up and manage their time when they get to Boston and be able to deal with that, especially if they have success. So it's something that definitely benefits down there.
Okay, evaluating players. Everyone always asks me about trades, and do these guys just sit on their computers and look at statistics and say we want Adrian Gonzalez because he's hitting that? There's a lot more that goes into trades, signing free agents, signing minor league free agents. You see 7 were signed today. But just take us through that approach when you guys are seeking or are going after a guy you want at the big league level.
Just from a trade standpoint, obviously very complex. They can come in many different forms, many different ways. It could take a day to complete. It could take months to complete. Obviously, everybody's heard about the Gonzalez deal with San Diego. Certainly going to be probably fairly complex with the number of players, and even if it has any potential to ever get done. With Jed Hoyer moving over to San Diego, being the GM there now and having worked for the Red Sox, his knowledge of our system and our players, the asking price is certainly going to be high from our standpoint because we don't ever want to give up young impact players, no matter who the major league player is, to the point where it doesn't make sense for us. But something like that, you know, you evaluate the player. We have scouting reports, we have statistical analysis. There's plenty of people within our front office that do all those things. And then it comes down to, you know, are we comfortable giving up this many players or this type of player for a guy like Adrian Gonzalez? And it has to make sense for both sides. And then the major league financial side to it too. What's the contracts and what's it going to cost us in the long run? So all those pieces go into those major deals, and it's sometimes what makes them so complex.
And you don't realize how much trust, and from being and working in baseball, you get to see how much that the Red Sox front office has to rely on everyone in the system. And you have to rely on a lot of different people. So that ultimate guy that makes the decision, they might take a lot of bullets and be the one that people are mad about if they're not making a good deal. But you have to have good trust. I think it's a big buzzword in an organization.
There's no doubt. I mean, Theo is unbelievable at the amount that he has to manage because he's getting so many opinions from so many different areas, and he relies on so many different areas of research or scouts or our staff like Arnie Baylor and for their opinions and their thoughts on these types of deals, and for him to be able to balance all those things and weigh them in the proper context in order to make a good decision. But there's no doubt there's that trust factor there, and we benefit from having a great coaching staff in the minor leagues as well as tremendous scouts in the field.
Now, were you at the NHL Classic at Fenway Park?
I wasn't.
You were not.
My wife wouldn't let me go.
Okay, that's a good answer. Mike Hazen, Farm Director of the Boston Red Sox. Great job. First time, too. First time up on the stage. So, first time up there. Mike usually just speaks, but this year he wanted to get into the late night show format, so we appreciate it. We'll send things back over to Norm.